And so Kubo finally settles the question about the true origin of the Getsuga Tensho technique. Is it an exclusive technique for Isshin and Ichigo, or can other Shinigami use it as well? With Kubo's latest answer, guys, the possibility of some theories I previously discussed on my channel regarding Getsuga Tensho and Shiba family becomes even more likely. That's why, guys, let's look at Kubo's answer first and then we'll break it down together. So this fan is wondering, is Mugetsu a technique exclusive to Zangetsu and Ingetsu? Or is it something any Shinigami could potentially use it by sacrificing their powers? And if that were the case, did Ichigo's immense power allow him to use it, which ultimately lead to Aizen's defeat? Here Kubo clarifies that Mugetsu is an ability or technique exclusive to Ingetsu and Zangetsu. And as you can see, guys, Kubo's answer carries a lot of implications. The name Final Getsuga Tensho alone is enough to suggest that it's a technique unique to Isshin and Ichigo, since their Zanpakuto share the same ability, Getsuga Tensho. However, the real question was whether this concept could be applied to other Zanpakutos as well. For example, could Ryujin Jakka, Yamamoto's Zanpakuto, have a unique technique that transforms Yamamoto into the embodiment of that power by sacrificing his powers? I still remember when Yamamoto's Bankai was first revealed, specifically when he used the waste technique, when he said think of my body and my blade as being enveloped by the sun. This sparked discussions about whether Shinigami could reach a state where they completely merge with their Zanpakuto. I always believed that such an event or such thing could be the final evolution of a Zanpakuto with its master, and so the Shinigami and their blade become one entity. Of course, I'm not referring here to Aizen Sasuke. His case is unique. The Hogyoku granted him a special status with Kyuka's Wigetsu, allowing him to wield its abilities without even needing to manifest the blade, as we saw in his battle against Yuabach in their first meeting and also in the final battle. He became one with his Zanpakuto. However, in the case of Mugetsu, we're talking about a specific technique. And one of the most unique aspects of this technique, guys, is that it's tied to two specific Zanpakutos. As I said, Zangetsu and Isshin's Zanpakuto. Both are capable of using Getsuga Tensho, and since Kubo has confirmed that the technique is exclusive to them, could we say for example that it's a secret technique of the Shiba family, a technique passed down within their noble bloodline and perhaps originating from their earliest ancestor? At this point, I'm not entirely sure whether Kubo was referring exclusively to Isshin and Ichigo's Zanpakuto as the only ones capable of doing such technique, or if it could extend to other Shiba family members. Personally, I think it's possible. Of course, I'm not talking about other members like Kokaku, Ganjo or Kaien, but I'm thinking about the previous members. Before Isshin, they had Zanpakutos similar to Zangetsu and Ingetsu, perhaps with names referring to the moon, and were also capable of using Getsuga Tensho. And if that's the case, guys, they might have possessed knowledge of this technique's secrets, especially considering that its foundation bears some resemblance to what the Shiba ancestor intended to do in the past, to take the Soul King's place. As Ichigo explained, the Shiba ancestor sought a technique that would allow him to sacrifice his body in order to replace the Soul King. The presence of keywords like technique and sacrifice makes it seem closely related to the concept of the Final Getsuga Tensho, which also involves sacrificing one's entire power in exchange for elation or doing the Mugetsu. Of course, we don't know exactly how things would have played out for the Shiba ancestor, or it was just an early version that fit his intended role as a Soul King's replacement. But as I have mentioned before, guys, it's possible that what the Shiba ancestor attempted to do was the initial foundation for what later evolved into the technique Isshin taught Ichigo. Now, guys, there is another mystery to consider. Kubo's answer further confirms that it is related to Isshin. Isshin wanted to learn this technique and try to use it, even mentioning that he struggled with Ingetsu when attempting to master it. But here is the big question, guys. If losing one's Shinigami powers is a well-known and general concept of this technique, something even Isshin was aware of, then why was he willing to make that sacrifice? What even could have made him want to do that? Or maybe Isshin didn't even know that using that technique would cost him his powers in the first place, since he failed to convince Ingetsu to teach him the technique. It's possible he was never informed of the secret behind it, meaning he knew that he would get a great power from the technique, but how, he didn't know it, because Ingetsu didn't told him. That's why he wanted to try this with his son Ichigo, and so he told him that he should learn the Final Getsuga Tensho and discover by himself the secret behind it, and why his Zanpakuto wouldn't make him able to learn the technique easily. Or maybe Isshin was fully aware of the results, but still chose to go through with it. And if that's the case, then the real question is, against whom? Who was the enemy that made Isshin so desperate to use it, to learn such technique? Previously we thought that it might have been Aizen Sasuke, but it later became clear that this was not the case. While Aizen was indeed one of the reasons Isshin lost his Shinigami powers, it wasn't because of Mugetsu. Another point, guys, worth of mentioning is whether Kubo's answer rules out the idea that this technique originally comes from the Quincy side of Ichigo. Some fans believe that this technique was initially a Quincy ability, similar to the holy release of the Quincy's, the old one, where activating this form results in losing one's power. And this theory, guys, had some good points, because the one who taught Ichigo this technique was actually his Quincy side. I'm speaking about White Tensa Zangetsu, revealing that its secret lies in accepting the blade, followed by the complete loss of one's powers. However, as we have seen, Kubo confirmed that this technique is exclusive to the Zanpakuto Ingetsu and Zangetsu, and has no connection to the Quincy's. Additionally, guys, if it truly were a Quincy technique, then Ichigo should have lost his Quincy powers instead of his Shinigami powers. In that case, he would have needed training similar to what Ryuken provided Uryu in order to regain them. Ending, guys, I think Kubo's answer is an important one, ending a long standing debate about the technique's origin. I still hope that one day we will learn why Isshin wanted to learn this technique. So guys, what do you think about Kubo's answer? Tell me, guys, what you think in the comments, and see you guys in my next video.